What is going on YouTube? Welcome into today's podcast, episode 22 of Ball Boy Talk, the official podcast of the Ball Boy blog. If you're new and joining us for the first time, well, thank you. I do appreciate it. Hope you guys are all doing super well. Your host to me today, me, Jay, as always, solo act. Come this time next week, you'll probably be looking at a different backdrop. I'm super excited to be talking about that. Really pumped up for that. Instead of these old blinds. What else? Oh yeah, don't forget to hit those buttons. Subscribe, like, comment, share, all the above. Make sure you look at the other videos. Make sure you just enjoy the content. Look through it, go over to the blog, look at the blog, read the links in the descriptions, all that fun stuff. It all really helps. I really do appreciate all of it. And if you go over to the website, to the My Deals page, I am updating that this week. We do have a couple new sponsors that we're just hammering out the details with, but I do currently have a link code for Daniel Seasoning, Raise Energy, Stash It Self Storage as well, and Zest Tea. So make sure you guys go get yourself some goodies, treat yourself, and enjoy today's podcast. So let's jump right into the news. So as of last week, we know that the MLB reevaluated the minors. Each team had their four affiliates sign their 10-year contracts. Each team now has a AAA, a AA, a high A, and a low A. There will be two divisions in AA. There will be two divisions in AAA, three divisions in AA, high A and low A levels. So that's pretty much all there is. Jared Hughes called it a career. And then we've seen some pretty interesting stuff about Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw, he wants to play beyond 2021. He's going to re-sign a contract with the Dodgers. That's the simplest way to put it. He feels like he still has plenty left in the tank, a few more years left. I mean, he's only 33. You look at like Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, those guys are getting close to 40. So yeah, Kershaw has plenty left in the tank. Let's see, what other news do we got? I'm actually going to be jumping around between last week's and this week's. That comes out on Wednesday. Every Wednesday, a new Around the Horn comes out. So, let's see, I'm trying to see what, relevant stuff I could talk about. Yes, so if you didn't see on Sunday, the 22nd, Mariners CEO Kevin Mather, he messed up in a YouTube video that was posted on Sunday. It was a speech that he gave on February 5th. In that video, he made some poor choices with his words and phrasing, and being in the spotlight like that, public spotlight, you have to be careful with your words. You have to know what to say, how to say, especially being a CEO of a Major League Baseball team. Some of the most problematic remarks were how star prospect Julio Rodriguez and former pitcher Hisashi Iwakuma reportedly have or had difficulty speaking English, with Mather complaining about the cost of paying for a Japanese interpreter for Iwakuma. Rodriguez, he already responded to Mather's comments with some pointed tweets. We'll see what happens. I'm sure there's going to be discipline for his actions, for what he said, how he said it. He also kind of said that they're going to be working the clock when it comes to top prospects Jared Kelenic and Logan Gilbert. They're expected, and let me go and read it directly here for you guys. So he said that we would like to see Kelenic to get a few more at bats in the minor leagues, probably AAA Tacoma for a month, and then he will likely be in left field at T-Mobile Park for the next 6 or 7 years. As for Logan Gilbert, you won't see him on April 1st, but by mid-April he will be on Seattle's active roster. I mean, it's no surprise. A lot of teams do this. A lot of teams keep their prospect clocks, that service time down. They manipulate the system to avoid arbitration, Super 2, all that fun stuff. That, of course, with this leverage now, the Players Association going to negotiations he basically gave some ammo to the PA to use come this upcoming CBA negotiations. Just to run through some signings, Justin Turner re-signed with the Dodgers, as well as the A's basically just built like the best bullpen in baseball in the last week. I mean, they signed Trevor Rosenthal to a 1 year, $11 million deal. They signed Sergio Romo. So now that bullpen now currently has Rosenthal, Jake Diekman, Adam Collard, a ground ball specialist, Iron Man Yusmeiro Petit, who they re-signed, slider specialist Sergio Romo, who they signed this last week, um, to go along with underrated JB Wendelken and Lou Trevino. Just pretty crazy. That's bullpen is static. That shot them way up in my power rankings to a top five. I think the A's are winning the AL. We'll just have to wait and see, but don't sleep on the A's, please. We all do every year, and it bites all of us. Let's see. To homecoming, Jake Arrieta returned to the Cubs. James Paxton returned to the Mariners. Um, the Rays are doing something weird with their rotation. I mean, not weird, but pretty normal. Of the Rays, they signed right-handed pitcher Colin McHugh to a deal. They signed left-handed pitcher Rich Hill to a deal. They'd already re-signed Chris Archer to a deal. They had already signed one more, Michael Waka to a deal. So they're making all these different signings to boost their rotation, to give themselves some depth behind Tyler Glass now, um, and other guys in that rotation. So they're going to have a very vet savvy rotation that's very cheap. But one of these guys in this rotation, out of those four, Archer, Hill, McHugh, and Waka, one of those guys is going to be a Cy Young contender. I just don't know who yet, but it's going to be one of them. If I had to put my money on any of them, it's going to be Rich Hill. Yes, he's 41, but he still has it. Or it's going to be Chris Archer returning to form like he was when he was with the Rays previously. The Red Sox signed Hirokazu Sawamura officially. Let's see. The Giants signed Aaron Sanchez. Some New York signings. Yankees signed Justin Wilson. Mets signed Kevin Pillar. Twins signed Matt Shoemaker. Brett Anderson re-signed with the Brewers. There's been a lot of signings. Diamondbacks signed infielder Asdrubal Cabrera. Pirates signed Tyler Anderson, left-handed pitcher. Padres signed Mark Melancon to a deal. Now this signing shows that the Padres are gunning for the Dodgers. Melancon was excellent last season. He returned to form. He just something else. He was a godsend for the Braves. 36-year-old, he posted 22 saves with a 26.3 K rate, 6.2 walk rate, in 43 innings pitched with the Braves after a 2019 trade. So Melancon, he's back in form. He looks really good. I'm really excited for him. The Phillies signed utility man Brad Miller. The Blue Jays signed right-handed relief pitcher David Phelps. And the Rangers signed left-handed pitcher Hyun-Jin Yang. Oh, don't worry, there's more. The A's signed Mitch Moreland. The Yankees re-signed Brett Gardner. Mets signed Taijuan Walker. He was also in contact with the Mariners. The Mariners were trying to get both Walker and Paxton back, but they were kind of not giving Walker what he wanted, and they didn't think he would get what he wanted, but he got exactly what he wanted in terms of a contract from the Mets. Other than that, there's not really anything huge to talk about in terms of free agents. Not a lot of rumors. I mean, the Tigers have discussed a possible reunion with Rick Porcello. The Red Sox are staying in touch with Jackie Bradley Jr.'s camp. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, let's talk to a few trades, actually. I don't really want to talk about these trades other than the Adam Collard, which I already mentioned, but this was a great deal for the A's to get Collard from the Dodgers. Other than that, just a lot of lesser known players kind of moving around. I guess there was one major trade. The deal between the Red Sox, Royals, and Mets on 2/10. Red Sox acquired Alfredo Franchi Cordero from the Royals right-handed pitcher Josh Kawiski from the Mets, and three players to be named later. The Royals acquired Andrew Benintendi from the Red Sox, and the Mets acquired outfielder Khalil Lee from the Royals. The Red Sox are getting Francie Cordero, who has only taken 315 plate appearances at the MLB level due to injuries, and a potential fourth, fifth starter in Winkowiski. The Royals are hoping they can get Benintendi to return to form, and kind of see what he can do in the foot speed returns. Also, I think the Mets got the best player in this deal. Khalil Lee, he's a burner. 53 stolen bases at the AA level in 2019. He has plenty of development left to do as a hitter, but overall, I think they got a steal in this trade. Outside of that, nothing of real relevance to talk about. Just a lot of smaller things. Let's see. You can always read all the trade rumors, injury updates, things like that. On the website, coming this Wednesday, there'll be a lot of COVID updates, injury updates, prospect buzz, just a lot of different things in that back half of the news and notes around the horn that I don't usually talk about here on the podcast. But a lot of those, the COVID stuff is especially important. If you remember, any player that tests positive or comes in contact, they must quarantine for 7 days, test negative on the 5th to be able to return. And so a few guys have been sidelined early in camp, so it's great that they're getting sidelined early. Get them sidelined now so that they can get in earlier, maybe be pushed back like a week or two in their throwing program. But outside of that, let's jump over into some fantasy baseball. Woohoo! And we are back. Welcome back into the news, or not even news, fantasy baseball starting pitchers. So if you missed it so far, we have officially talked about what positions I've already broken down for you guys. We've already talked outfielders, I know that for sure. Third baseman and shortstops coming into today's episode. So if you want to check those out, go over to the website, go into the fantasy dugout, and you can see all those. Because I know if you play fantasy baseball, you're like me, you want to know many players, you want to know who's out there, who you can get late, who you can steal, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to tell you who you can steal, who you can get late in drafts, and who you're going to want to be looking for. Let's see. So your obvious top 10 guys: Garrett Cole, Trevor Bauer, Shane Bieber, Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, Walker Buehler, Yu Darvish, Clayton Kershaw, Hyun-Jin Ryu, and Kenta Maeda. All of these guys, top 25, top 30 picks. I'm telling you right now, these guys are going to be off the board early. And some of them, let them go. Let them go unless you're in a keeper league and you get to keep them. But let some of these guys go. Let a guy like Yu Darvish go, because we don't know how he's going to respond to not being on the Padres. Instead of getting a Yu Darvish, get a Kenta Maeda, who people probably don't want. Who can probably honestly get in like the 4th or 5th round. Go after a Hyun-Jin Ryu, who you could also probably get in the 4th or 5th round. Go after Clayton Kershaw, who might not be as attractive behind Trevor Bauer and Walker Buehler. Go after a guy like that. You might be able to score him a little bit later, maybe 3rd, 4th round. Look at these guys who you can get a little bit later. So let's get into some of those other guys. Jake Flaherty, Cardinals. Jack Flaherty. I don't know why I always say Jake. It's Jack Flaherty. He's just barely outside of that top 12 cut for me, but with the top 10 cut, but with Nolan Arenado in-house, Goldschmidt, Yachty, Waino re-signed. Yachty wants to teach all these guys how to be a big leader. That's I feel like that's his mission right now, is to go out leaving the Cardinals in great shape. Um, Look for him to put up 12 plus wins, 210 plus strikeouts, a 3.45 ERA, and a 1.20 or lower WHIP. Um, Along with Jack Flattery, Blake Snell. He's in San Diego. He's playing behind and in front of an amazing offense. Defense is great behind him. All around, it's a very solid Padres team. And then, of course, you got Tyler Glasnow, who is alone atop of the rotation for the Rays. Each of these guys I mentioned so far, these are guys you can get in third, fourth, fifth round if they fall to you. Um, Max Fried, another guy, another guy who's at top of a rotation, who's excellent in 2020. Luis Castillo, with no Bauer, and the Reds hopefully wanting to build off their playoff appearance last season, and their unwillingness to trade him. Castillo should have a great season. Um, there's no doubt Castillo's going to have a great season. Lucas Giolito, Aaron Nola, Zach Greinke, Lance Lynn, Madison Bumgarner. Those guys round out my top 20, and all of them are guys you could probably get in the fifth round or later. Especially a guy like Madison Bumgarner. He's like 30, he's 31. He's due for a Hall of Fame someday. He's due for a big season in Arizona. With how competitive that West Division is, they can either throw it in or try to fight for third place with the Giants. But man, it's a tough division. But Bumgarner, he's got plenty of years, and he's someone who should give you like a 3.9 or lower ERA, 190 strikeouts, 12 plus wins, and just be an absolute steal in like the 8th, 9th, even 10th round possibly. Some guys who you're going to be able to get even later, probably after like the 7th, 8th, 9th, 8th or later rounds. Sixto Sanchez. There's so many similarities between Sixto Sanchez and Pedro Martinez. It's kind of ridiculous, but I'm high on Sixto Sanchez as the NL Rookie of the Year. I'm high on him with this Marlins rotation, but he's gonna fall into like later than the 10th round, and if you're able to draft him, then you're gonna be really happy with the pitcher you're getting. A guy like Patrick Corbin, Charlie Morton, Sonny Gray, all those guys are all guys you can get in like the 8th, 9th, 10th round. Each of them are, 2 or 3 guys in their rotation. Their expectations have dropped off for fantasy, but these are still guys who you want to have on your team, who you want to target later in drafts to build your rotation. A guy like Noah Syndergaard, who probably won't come back till June and July, who you take in the draft, 11th, 12th round, or back last couple rounds of the draft, you stick him on your IL, and then you grab someone you wanted off of waivers. And then when he comes back in June, July, you have Noah Syndergaard, Zach Wheeler, Zach Plesac, Kyle Hendricks. These 3, of course, you want these guys. Why wouldn't you want these guys? Wheeler, he's at the top of that Phillies rotation with a lot of expectations. Go get yourself Wheeler in the 9th, 10th, or later round. Get yourself Zach Plesac, who had a tremendous year last season, despite being sent down to the alternate site because of COVID violations. He's going to be solid. Kyle Hendricks, another guy, just another solid rotation piece. Marco Gonzalez. The Mariners are a looming contender in the AL West. The AL West is open. The Astros, they have a great offense, but they have no pitching. The Angels, kind of middle of the ground and everything. The Athletics, they're going to win the division, but the Mariners are within striking distance. They were 1 game away from the playoffs in 2020. So let's stop sleeping on them and go after Marco Gonzalez. He's a really good pitcher. And lastly, Brandon Woodruff. And with the Brewers, they have no one. but they have high expectations for Woodruff. With those high expectations comes great responsibility. Um, look at him in the 10th through 15th round. He could be the biggest deal of the draft if you're able to get him. Um, and so, yeah, those are some of the guys and some injury guys that I want you to keep an eye on, because these guys you're going to be able to get cheap at the end of the draft who have a tremendous amount of upside. Justin Verlander, Chris Sale, Steven Strasburg, Mike Soroka, Shohei Ohtani, Corey Kluber, Eduardo Rodriguez, James Paxton, and Marcus Stroman. Those all sound like top 30 names to me. However, none of them are because of the injury. If you are willing to risk one of two of these guys on a rebound, I would be putting my money on Stephen Strasburg for sure, Shohei Ohtani, Eduardo Rodriguez, Marcus Stroman, James Paxton. I mean, why not take some of these injury flyers? I'm telling you, let the other guys go. Instead of going after Trevor Bauer early in the draft, go for a hitter. And then go for a Zach Plesac later, who you might end up getting similar production from. That's just going to be cost you less and help your team more. Some other quality starters you could go after: Robbie Ray, Carlos Carrasco, Jake. If Jake Odorizzi signs, he kind of changes where he should land. Jose Barrios, Christian Javier, Justice Sheffield, Frankie Montes, Zach Gallen, Jesus Luzardo, Matt Boyd, Herman Marquez, Sean Manaea, Joe Musgrove, Dallas Keuchel, Mackenzie Gore, Domingo de Herman, Nate Pearson, Chris Paddock, Johnny Cueto, David Price, Mike Meyer. I put Masahiro Tanaka on here, but that was before he was going back to Japan. So don't draft Masahiro Tanaka. However, guys, these are starting pitching is loaded. It's going to fluctuate throughout the season. My tip with pitching is get a couple guys, stick with them, and then play the waiver wire roulette carousel. Get on the waiver wire carousel and ride hot streaks, drop them when they're not hot, pick them up when they're hot, make trades, make moves. Don't be afraid to drop people who you drafted. That is the biggest mistake of any fantasy sport. Is you're afraid to drop who you drafted. Like recently in my fantasy basketball league, I dropped Blake Griffin. I drafted him, had high hopes. He was garbage, so I dropped him. If a guy is not helping your team, drop him. Get someone who's going to help your team, help you win in some of those head-to-head categories, which is what the fantasy dugout is here for. Help you win your draft as well. We're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to jump over. We're going to talk about the present and future of the NL West. Welcome back in to Ballboy Talk, episode 22. Now it's time to keep going with the present and future series. So, if you missed it so far, we have talked about we've talked about a lot of teams. But we're going to be in the NL West today. Last week we talked about the AL West, and we have also talked about the let's see here. I believe we talked about the AL East, the Central. I think we talked about almost every division so far. So we're getting close. We're on the tail end of these, I believe. I'll have to confirm on that, though. I'm not 100%. Regardless, let's talk. So if you're new to the present and future series, some of the things we talk about in it are, and I just completely lost my recording on Anchor. So let's jump into it now. Some of the most exciting players in the NL West. Of course, you have basically the entire Dodgers offense. I mean, Gavin Lux, he hasn't quite lived up to the hype yet, but he's only 23 years old. He has time to develop into a star. He's a great defender at second base. He the career slash line of 210, 278, 377, over 138 at bats isn't quite there yet, but how good his glove is going to keep him in the lineup. Jake Cronenworth, the Rookie of the Year runner-up in 2020, showed that he can easily beat any shift you put on him. He posted a 1.6 WAR with a 285, 354, 477 slash line, or 172 at bats. He debuted at age 26. However, that doesn't matter. Cronenworth is going to be great for this Padres team. Trent Grisham, the Gold Glove center fielder with the Padres, has an incredibly bright future ahead of him. Especially with the glove. I mean, he's already a Gold Glover at 24 years old. He posted a 2.4 WAR in 2020, a career slash of 243, 342, and 437 over 371 at bats. Big fan of Trent Grisham. Will Smith, the Dodgers catcher, he's been pretty solid since his MLB debut in 2019. Behind the plate, he has 679.2 innings with 0 errors, perfect fielding percentage, 2 defensive runs saved, and 23% caught stealing. So the work behind the plate is good. In 284 at bats, he has a 268, 363, 574 slash line. And lastly, Joey Bart. The debut wasn't great, with Buster Posey working his way back into the lineup, working his way back in 2020. I'm not worried about Bart. I think he's going to get one more season to groom behind Posey. Posey's contract is up at the end of the 2021 season, so we will see what happens. Some of the guys who are on their way to the Hall of Fame that are just phenomenal hitters. You got Cody Bellinger. He's already won an MVP, Rookie of the Year, Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, NLCS MVP, World Series champion, and a 2-time All-Star. That list is already great for him. The Gold Glove was a little bit of a surprise for me. I didn't see him as a Gold Glove center fielder, but he is. He's going to keep going. He's going to go down as one of the best to ever have done it. Corey Seager, Dodger shortstop. I always forget that he's only 26 years old with 5 years MLB service. He debuted at 21. He's already pretty decorated in his career. Rookie of the Year, NLCS MVP, World Series MVP, World Series chip, 2 Silver Slugger, 2 All-Stars, career 17.8 WAR already. He's going to get a big payday. And another shortstop, Trevor Story of the Rockies, 28 years old. 2-time All-Star, Silver Slugger. He has a 980 fielding percentage with 45 defensive runs saved at the shortstop position and almost 5,200 innings played. He's a 21.0 WAR with a 277 and 343, 535 slash line of over 2,296 at bats. And lastly, last hitter I want to talk about is another shortstop. It's El Nino Fernando Tatis Jr., who just signed a 14-year, $340 million extension with the Padres, the third richest contract of all time. I mean, right. He finished third in Rookie of the Year in 2019. 2020, he finished fourth in the MVP, won the Silver Slugger. It's still early for Tatis, but he's going to be the cover on MLB The Show 21, and we'll look for it to continue. A few guys who are honorable mentions: Charlie Blackmon. He's been one of the most consistent hitters over the last decade. 4-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger winner, batting title winner. The defense is pretty much what holds him back. Negative 64 defensive runs saved, over 8,950 innings. However, his consistency gives him a chance. Brandon Belt with the Giants, solid career, 1 All-Star appearance, 2 World Series ring. Great defender, 55 defensive runs saved with a .994 fielding percentage, 25.1 WAR. We'll see what happens with him. Last honorable mention for the hitters: Brandon Crawford, 2 All-Star appearances, 3 Gold Gloves, Silver Slugger, 2 World Series rings, and one of the best defensive shortstops we have seen in the last decade. In almost 1,100 innings played, a .975 fielding percentage, and 80 defensive runs saved at the shortstop position. Both him and Belt's contracts are over after the 2021 season, so we will see what the Giants decide to do with both of them. And then some future Hall of Famers in the NL West. Mookie Betts. I mean, he's already done it. 1 MVP, 4 All-Stars appearances, 2 World Series rings, 5 Gold Gloves, 4 Silver Sluggers, batting title, Wilson Defensive Player of the Year, already 45.4 career WAR, 301, 373, 522 slash line, and 3,422 at bats. 120 defensive runs saved in almost 7,400 innings in the field. And he's 1 season into his 12-year, $365 million deal with the Dodgers. Let's see why he got paid. Buster Posey, mentioned him earlier at the top. Iconic number 28. 1 MVP, 1 Rookie of the Year, Gold Glove, 4 Silver Sluggers, a batting title, 6 All-Star appearances, 41.8 WAR, 1,380 hits, 302, 370, 456 slash, in almost 8,400 innings behind the plate, and that .995 fielding percentage with 119 defensive runs saved and 33% caught stealing. No doubt. Third baseman Evan Longoria on the Giants. Yes, the Giants had a future Hall of Fame infield almost. Evan Longoria, another just great over the last decade plus. Rookie of the Year award, 3 Gold Gloves, Silver Slugger, and 3 All-Star appearances. 56.7 career WAR to date. 266, 334, 473 slash, in his 6,576 at bats. In over 14,000 innings at third base. .966 fielding percentage with 108 defensive runs saved. He has paved the way for what an excellent third baseman looks like in the MLB in his time. And the next guys followed in those footsteps. Manny Machado. He has 4 All-Star appearances, 2 Gold Gloves, a Silver Slugger, and a Platinum Glove so far in his career. He's been a great defender at third base, posting a .969 fielding percentage, 985 defensive run saves, and 7,978 makes at the hot corner. He's only 28. He still has a lot of time left on his deal with the Padres. 8 years to be exact. So we'll see what happens, but Machado, he's destined for greatness. Now let's talk some pitchers. So you got Zach Gallen of the D-backs. He's shown tremendous upside, and he's on the rise. I'm really excited for him on Marquez as well. Just another guy, tremendous upside, some pretty good stuff, good command. So we'll see what happens. They're both pretty unproven. Then you got Dustin May, the man himself, can hit triple digits, light up the gun. He's only 23. He should be lining up as the 5th option in the Dodgers rotation this spring or out of the bullpen. He was highly effective in that role last season. So I'm really excited to see what May brings the team. You got Julio Urias as well, who was just nails in the postseason. Just probably is on being one of the best swingmen in baseball. Being able to open games, start games, close them, whatever they need him for. Highly effective in all roles. You got Chris Paddock of the Padres as well. Just another guy who's just young. He's 24. He's still growing, and he fills a top of the rotation need. Then you got Walker Buehler, who has been on my radar for a long time. Pretty much since like 2016. He was his first round pick in 2015 of the Dodgers. Just incredibly bright future. He's on his way. Blake Snell, of course, he's one that he's 28. He could have another 5 to 10 years of high level success, but the Cy Young Award, 9th place finish in the MVP voting in 2019. 2018. He rebounded nicely in 2020 after a rough 2019. He's now with the Padres. Um, I like the outlook for Snell. He's excited. I think he's on his way to being a Hall of Famer, but we will see. Time will tell for Snell. An honorable mention. Who's close? We're going to kind of have to see how his career wraps up. A 34-year-old Johnny Cueto. I think he still has a little bit left in the tank. He's going into his last season with the Giants. He has a career 32.1 WAR, 2 All-Star nods, and World Series ring with the Royals back in 2015. Almost 2,000 career innings pitched. Um, I've always been a fan of Cueto. I like his delivery, but the injuries, and we'll just kind of wait and see what happens with him. But he's an honorable mention, so he's a little bit further along um, than Snell and Walker Buehler. And then the future Hall of Famers in the NL West are no-brainers. Madison D-backs with the Madison Bumgarner with the Diamondbacks. That's what I meant to say. He's been one of the most dominant southpaws over the last decade in the MLB. 4-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, NLCS MVP, World Series MVP, and a 3-time World Series champ. He was ace of those 3 World Series rings with the Dodgers. So don't forget that. He's only 31, and he could pitch for another 5 to 7 years at a high level of success. So don't be surprised when Bumgarner's in the Hall of Fame. We all know he's going to be. Let's see, next, David Price. Yes, I think David Price is a Hall of Famer. Here's why. 1 Cy Young, 1 World Series ring, 2 ERA title, 5 All-Star nods. 39.4 career WAR, 150 to 80 win-loss record, 331 ERA, 335 FIP, career 1.15 WHIP, 1,981 strikeouts to 527 walks, over 2,029.2 innings pitched. He has 2 more years on his contract with the Dodgers. He's 35. Could be his last 2 seasons after opting out in 2020. We'll have to see. But he has a great team behind him to go out with on a high note. And he technically has another World Series right now. Let's see. Kenley Jansen, just a great Dodgers pitcher. It's hard to find relievers to put on these kind of posts and to talk about. But Jansen, he's been as good as they come over the last decade out of the bullpen. 3 All-Star nods, 2 Trevor Hoffman NL Reliever of the Year awards, a World Series ring in 2020. He holds a career 16.3 WAR, 312 saves, 2.39 ERA to 2.29 FIP, 936 Ks and 168 walks, over 636 innings pitched. That is remarkable numbers, high K per 9, and he's been one of the most dominantly consistent closers over the last decade. Look for Jansen at 33 years old to just keep it going for a few more peak seasons in his prime. And lastly, we're going to close out the show talking about a guy we talked about at the top, Clayton Kershaw. He finally got his World Series ring after earning an MVP, a Triple Crown for pitchers, Player of the Year, a Gold Glove, 3 Cy Youngs, 5 ERA titles, 8 All-Star nods. The only thing that blemishes him is his 4.19 ERA over 189 innings pitched in this postseason across 20 series. He is one of the best, if not the best, regular season starting pitcher of all time, up there with Sandy Koufax and Satchel Paige. 69.6 WAR, 175 to 76 win-loss, 2.43 ERA, 2.75 FIP, 1 WHIP, 2,526 strikeouts to 585 walks, over 2,333 innings pitched. He's 33. He's a 14-year vet. And he still wants to play a few more years. This career for Kershaw has been nothing short of fantastic. He is one of the best curveballs we have ever seen. Just complete domination in his career. Kershaw is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for being here with me. I deeply, deeply appreciate your time. Thank you for listening, giving the podcast a chance. It means a ton. Um, I'm just super grateful for your time. Um, I would love it. Love your support. Go over, check out all the different social medias: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, obviously YouTube if you're listening to the podcast. Go over to YouTube and go and watch it. There's nothing fancy. It's just me sitting in front of the camera and talking. But let's see. I wanted to talk about Rep Sports, Raise Energy. These guys are the best friend of the Ball Boy blog, Ball Boy Talk podcast. Um, every time you use the code BALLBOY at checkout, you save 15% on this clean, sufficient energy drink to deliver you intense focus, just like it does for me. Um, you'll quit all other energy drinks once you try Raise. It's just it's here. Everything else is here. You can't even see my hand because it's out of the shot. But like here, just incredible. Love the stuff. Save 50% at checkout using code BALLBOY. That's BALLBOY. Save yourself 50% today. Thank you again for listening. Have a great day. Be safe. Stay kind. One love. Blessings.